Hello and welcome, my friends. How are you doing today? Today we are talking about flowing by the seat of your pants. Very, very literally. The energy has been really bringing us to this place of having to do the dance. So, where are you doing your dance? We're going to talk about this and so much more. Really being able to make this mandatory reframe during eclipse season, which is what we are still in this energy. And it's really all in preparation for the very first 1010 Stargate, which happens tomorrow. And whether or not you're into the cosmic alignments or you're into astrology or numerology, the truth is that all of this stuff affects how we navigate day-to-day life, what our experience is like. And so today we're going to cover some of these things to help you navigate whatever it is that you are experiencing, whatever it is that's showing up as a challenge for you. What we talk about today is definitely going to be supportive and help you in that area. Okay, so in our short time together, let's just dive right in. So, talking about this flowing by the seat of your pants, I had this conversation with a dear sister today, and those were the words that came out, and I was like, that's literally what this time is about. Flowing instead of flying by the seat of your pants, which is a lot more chaotic, a lot more kind of like, I don't have control. We're going to flow by the seat of our pants. Very big difference, and really an important distinction to make right now with all of the alignments and this really intense energy that is here. And it's here to help you up level. This is what I want to make really clear too. So if you're feeling a little destabilized, destabilizing is what this energy is all about. It's about trying to throw you off kilter, take you out of your comfort zone, and make you feel uncomfortable. And at the same time, this is where the 1010 comes in. It's also about, still in the midst of that, giving you a real taste of, I'm aware of what's happening. You're not completely lost in the drama of it. So, does that relate? You guys relate to that? Is that at all tapping into what your experience has been of late? And it's not in one particular area. It may show up more in certain areas than others, but it's really about stripping down our identity to have no distortion left as we move into this next phase, which is going into 2025, which is going to be our first real full on year of being able to express our true divine creative nature in physical form. So basically, the first year we get to really create as our God selves. And so there's a lot of housekeeping we got to do. We've talked about some of this before, but this week we are culminating. We're in the month of October, which is really the first month that we get a full-on taste of what 2025 is going to be like. And so it's unstable. It's challenging us like we haven't been challenged before. And it's really getting us, forcing us to step up and level up. Tammy, welcome, sister. Great to have you here. Tammy is saying, I'm getting destabilized for sure. Amazing. Welcome to the club. But it's a different kind of destabilizing, right? Like in the days past, thank you for sharing that, Tammy, because confirmation is always comforting when you think you're going through this on your own, and the reality is we're all going through it in our own way. Some people are seeing it in the financial aspect of their life, some are seeing it in relationships, others are seeing it with friendships or health or whatever. We're all experiencing it, but for each and every one of us, it's really here to bring us to this next level of self-awareness and self-empowerment. So get excited if you're not already. And if I know Tammy, she's probably like going, yeah, I'm excited. I may be destabilizing, but I'm excited. Okay. So in preparation for the Stargate, so the Stargate is tomorrow, in case I wasn't clear about that earlier. So the first 1010 Stargate is tomorrow, and that's because October, the 10th, October is a 10 month, and the 10th day is tomorrow. So numerologically speaking, we will be at the peak of this energy tomorrow, but we have already been feeling it for a couple of days now, leading into this. I know for myself, I was out of my element, my locational element, I was at the new place over the last couple of days and I noticed some really interesting wonky feelings coming up. Kind of old stuff, but also kind of foreign stuff, like leaving me feeling just lower emotions that I haven't really tapped into for a while. And so I was by myself. I had the opportunity to kind of sit with it and come into the awareness of like, wow, I'm feeling these, and I almost was surprised by it, but at the same time feeling like, wow, this is like something new but something old at the same time. And this is one of the first echoes that I'll bring us into of this 1010, right? What's a 1 and a 0? Now, let me just back up here. What is the 1010 really helping bring forward for us? Well, this energy it's binary in a sense, right? Ones and zeros. The original computer programming code was ones and zeros. Think Matrix, right? The movie The Matrix. Ones and zeros. It's black and white. It's everything and nothing all at the same time. It's chaos and stillness. It's disconnection and full 0 point connection to source energy all at the same time. It's destabilized yet fully stable and knowing it. So that's what we're playing with. Does that make sense? Yeah? Okay. So it's a very powerful energy. It's demanding change, this kind of energy. There is a frequency about it that's unmistakable. And here in the north, where we are, the northern hemisphere, I mean, it's a time of very much of black and white. There is a death process that's happening in the environment because we're going into fall. So there's the death, but then there's the rebirth too. It's amazing. When we come into this season, this is also a season where things that are about birth kick up as well. Here, renovations. Because when one thing is dying, the season of fun and extrovert and playing outside in nature, here where we are starts to wind down because we're going into the cooler weather, the cooler months. There is this sudden and natural rebirth of an energy of nesting, of wanting to go inward, go into the home, make the home cozy, make it comfortable, we're going into this next phase, wanting to birth something new, which we really are collectively, but especially in this part of the world too, where we are really feeling that on this level of like the home. And making ourselves, preparing ourselves for what's coming next. So it's the all and nothing, the black and white. It's just so binary. And so your experience may be something very much like that as well, where you've got like so much positive and yet so much contrasting something else showing up at the same time. Are you feeling, though, I'm going to ask you, when you tune into it, are you tapping into that 0 point where you are in the middle, aware, perhaps more than you were before? So the next point I want to bring up for us is this energy is necessary. Being destabilized now is necessary. Anything and anywhere we are feeling powerless, we're feeling helpless, we're feeling disconnected from our source, from our true source of power and creative ability. Anywhere we're feeling that, and we don't believe that we have the power to actually change ourselves or the reality that we have been living, those are the things that are coming up for, I would say, renewal, but first removal. How would it feel and how would you like it if all of those areas, all of those feelings of being powerless, unable to change your reality, feeling like you're trapped by circumstances, if those experiences didn't exist, how would it feel? Pretty amazing, right? If you no longer ever felt powerless or helpless, unable to change the situation that you're in, it would feel very empowering. And in fact, it would feel very much like your true nature. So that's what this is calling us into. It's the invitation. Okay. So our higher selves are basically calling us out on all of that stuff. Wherever that's showing up in your life, this is when you're getting called out. Point blank. And it's happening for all of us. So don't feel like it's just you. And when I say you, I'm speaking to you, but to all of us, the greater you. Okay? Now, we're talking about any resistance, any limiting thought patterns that you're feeling. Any belief systems, patterns of being, it's all basically egoic programming that is being demanded that it be released and reformed into something that is truly authentic to who you are. And the reason why this is coming up as well is it's helping us to actually receive and integrate what is being made available to us energetically and cosmically through this season of eclipses, the encodements, the up-leveled energy, the higher frequencies, and the potentials that are available at that level. Okay? So this is leading up to the 1010. What it may be feeling. Let's talk a little bit about that. And then let me know if these are resonating with you. You may be feeling like you're in the thick of something while also in the void. So that void where it's like time is standing still, but at the same time, time's going super fast. Anybody relate to that? Feeling immense pressure while also noticing there's actually no pressure at all. I know I was feeling that the other day. It's like, okay, I'm feeling pressured to get this work done at the new property. I was feeling the pressure. My mind was pulling me back into the past, reminding me of the last time I worked on floors, that it was quite a lot of work, that it was hard, but I loved the end result. So I got very excited about doing it. Again, that contrast in the thick of it, but also in the flow of it, right? And yet, while I was feeling that pressure and feeling like it was taking a long time, I was doing it by myself. I had the awareness like, wow, this is really interesting, these contrasting thoughts. So there it is again, like the one, let's say the one is the contrast, right? And then the zero is the 0 point. Being in the thick of it, also having the awareness. So it's happening at the same time. Right? And bringing up all kinds of new awarenesses of other things that are probably standing in the way of my ability to fully receive and access what's available at this time energetically and through the encodements that are here. Okay. Simultaneously intense while simultaneously quiet. Okay, are you feeling that as well? And it can be silence in the mind while also feeling in your environment like there's a lot going on. But being calm as you kind of walk through what appears to be like a lot of movement and a lot that's calling your attention, yet there's an odd stillness about it. Let me know if you can relate to that, guys, at all. Okay. Okay, so this is helping us to be able to walk through dramas and chaos without getting lost in the unfoldment of it, simultaneously being aware of what's happening. And this is also, we can walk ourselves through to the promised land and off to the other side. Because when we get there, I was having this conversation with a dear sister today on a call. It's like, it may feel like you're in the thick of it now, but when you come out the other side, you are going to feel the peace of like sinking into a hot tub after an immensely intense physical workout. Or you've been, in her case, I said, it's like you've been doing dance recital after recital after recital, and you finally have the grand opening of the show. You've been working, your body has just been like really full on. You've been feeling it. It's been tiring, and then you sink into that tub after your first performance because the hard work is over and the rest is just going to flow. And that's what we're going to feel like, really slipping into this. Once the chaos is gone and you've moved through it, what's on the other side is blue skies, milk and honey. And it feels amazing, like sinking into that tub with Epsom salts, which I've yet to do, actually. I'm going to do that. Hey, Joey. Welcome, brother. All right, what does Joey have to say here? Intense, turbulent life circumstances that feel peaceful as they pass. Yeah, isn't that fascinating? I'm really amazed by it, even though, I mean, we should expect it, but it's really, really cool. He says it's weird, but I'm not complaining. I love it. I love it. And that's a great way to describe it, right? It's weird. I'm not complaining, but you know it's happening, right? This is where higher consciousness, which is what we are all leveling up more and more and more into, this is what that higher consciousness allows us to do, is to navigate seemingly very difficult circumstances and life situations and challenges with more ease and with more grace, right? It's not that as we go into organic 3D and then into, fifth dimensional consciousness, as we rise in our conscious awareness and in our frequency, it's not that the contrast necessarily disappears completely. We came here this time to play with contrast. But what does change is how we navigate it, how we experience it, what we do with the experience that is being presented to us. That's what changes. Yes, the contrast also does mellow. We don't have to have such extreme situations presenting themselves to us. It's just not a requirement anymore, but the contrast will still be there. It's just how we see it, and then as a result, perceiving it, and then how we experience it will be very, very different. And so we're starting to get glimpses of that now. This is the first year where we're really able to taste that and tangibly feel what it feels like to be centered and be aware and less affected by what's taking place in the outer world. Because we're now starting to see more than just see, it's like really know through experience what it's like to be our God selves in physical form. Thank you for bringing that up, Joey. Thank you so much for sharing, brother. Okay, what else here? Okay, so, all right, the last piece. So the invitation of the 1010s is to take everything step by step, one foot in front of the other, without overthinking. You got that? Yeah? Does that resonate? The thinking is what gets us into trouble. Less thinking, more feeling. Less thinking, more feeling. It's the thinking that creates the stress, the worry, the fear, the pressure, the resistance. And the remedy is flow by the seat of your pants. Just flow by the seat of your pants. So I like this, and I suppose the reason it came forward today in that phone call with my beloved sister was that we are not going to be changing the circumstances necessarily, right? And when harsh or really extreme circumstances present, amazing. You're never ever going to be dealt something that you can't handle. In fact, if it looks more extreme, it's because you've got the experience at a multidimensional level. You know exactly what to do. You have either done this or you are already prepared to have this experience. So just open up to it. Don't resist. Don't try and force. Open up. You've got what it takes. You just aren't aware that you've got what it takes until you start moving forward. So hence the 10-10. Take one step after the other. Just keep taking steps. And you will see the sea will part for you. Just like it did for, was it Noah? It was Noah. Anybody more up to speed with the Bible stories? I believe it was Noah. Okay. So flying by the seat of your pants, around whatever presents itself, and only when it presents itself to you. This is a key. Okay? So I'll tell you another story, and not a moment sooner. Can you flow with something that hasn't presented itself to you yet? No. If you are water in a stream, can you flow around a rock that's 4 feet in front of you? if you are the water here, can you flow around that where you are here if it's over there? No. So stop doing that in everyday life with whatever it is you're experiencing. I'll give you an example. Okay, I was doing this myself, and then I laughed at myself the other day. I was like, there's really no need to be thinking so far ahead. So there's work that needs to be done at the house. Contractors need to be put in place. There's electrical that has to happen, plumbing that has to happen, all kinds of things that have to happen. And there are varying orders in which things can take place. Some people say, get your insulation done first. We're going to be going with spray foam, so it's a big investment, but it's a completely different experience. It's something I've always wanted to do. It's like, use spray foam. Call me a geek. I love renovations. I love the idea of having a cozy, draft-free, really toasty or really cool environment. And so spray foam is a thing that we're looking at doing and want to do. But each of these contractors, they have a certain amount of work, each takes a certain amount of time, and each has a different price tag. And so there have been, let me see if I can bring us here. So if we get, for example, the insulation done first, that means X number of dollars of our renovation budget has to go out first to them. And that's a big one. But then there's also electrical that has to happen. So in my mind, I've been trying to balance without knowing the prices of all of these things, because these are unknowns that simply had not presented themselves yet. So I'm imagining prices, estimating prices in my head, and going back and forth, thinking, well, if we get this done first, and then that, this will cost this much, this will cost this much. How's it going to leave room for this, which I really want to do this? My mind was having its way with me. My lower mind was thinking about things that I didn't need to think about yet. So there were two options. One, thinking about, and basically let me go back to this. Basically, thinking about things that should happen, for example, was what was causing more of the stress, and dealing with unknowns. So it's the undercurrent of stress that created this feeling of unease, really dis-ease. If you think about it, the beginnings of dis-ease is prolonged feelings of stress and preemptively thinking about something that we don't need to think about generally, because it hasn't actually presented yet, right? In my case, I didn't actually need to think about these things because I didn't have any really solid information yet. And yet my mind was ruminating over them. So there was two options, right? Option one is think about that thing, weighing the pros and cons, going back and forth about it, wondering how will this happen and where will this come from and how could that come together? I could have been doing it, and I did do it for a while. That was fun. Or option two is don't think about any of that stuff. Just leave it until the specific details are available. This is where overthinking can come in. And deal with it then only in the moment when the information's available, which means basically when something is finally presented and I know there are timelines. So in my case, there's this really, it's an artificial timeline, but it's a timeline that I have in my head, sticking to that and letting that be the reason for overthinking. Never, not even a timeline, should step in and allow you to be able to overthink something. Why? Because if you simply don't have the information available and you've done everything you can to get it, I made the phone calls, I sent the text messages, there was no response. Technically, it's as far as I can push it. So then what do? You just let it go. Let it go and wait. And do what? The mind says, and do what? You're not going to try and move it forward? No. Because trying is doing what? It's pushing. And we're talking about flowing by the seat of your pants, right? So option two is you do nothing. The deadline, so to speak, the timeline will be the timeline. If it needs to move, it will move. And everything else will fill in around it. Do I need to force it to try and make that happen? No. And in doing so, what would I actually be doing? I would be pinching off higher potentials from actually being able to come into my reality experience and make things feel more magical. Make it so that, oh, the perfect solution comes up from a contractor, or the price is dramatically lower than I expected, leaving lots more room for this and this and this to come in to play and be done. Whatever. There's so many potentials that could be coming in. But if I'm in that place of overthinking and feeling stressed and feeling concerned and trying to figure out the how, which is not my job anyway, nor is it yours, we are wasting energy, we are wasting creative power, and we're simply creating a lot more of what we probably don't want, which is more unknowns. I don't know how this is going to happen. How is this going to come together on time? How is this going to come together on budget? What if these guys actually don't do it? Like, the mind could take you on a million different wild goose chases. But if you simply don't think about it, say, I don't know. I've made the phone calls. I've done what I can do. Now I'm just going to focus on something else that doesn't involve so many unknowns, that doesn't feel stressful, but it's still something else that I can move forward. I'm just going to focus on that, which is what I did. And then, bam. As soon as I did that, let go, stop thinking, overthinking, and thinking more, then suddenly the estimates start coming in. And they're perfect. They're great. And then flexibility starts coming in. Oh, and by the way, you know what? If you want, we could break the payments up this way. That'll allow you to get this done and this done. And then great ideas started coming in. Oh, well, actually, it's more important that you get the insulation done first, because then that makes room for us to do the electrical. All these different ideas, people, opportunities, situations, blessings, gifts, good fortune, and great news starts showing up because I stepped out of my head, let the rest go, and was flowing by the seat of my pants. I say flowing by the seat of my pants because there's things that you are going to be dealing with that you can't control. You don't know what the best path is because you like me down here on the ground, we can't see that higher. We can't see that overarching. We're not that camera at the top of the hockey field or the football field that's able to see the whole game. Maybe not football, but hockey. I'm up here in Canada and we have a lot of hockey happening. And we can't see that perspective. So if you just let the rest be taken care of by your higher aspect, it's all done with perfection. If we can get out of the way. How do you get out of the way? Get out of your head. And get into your body. And by getting into the body, you can get into the heart. By getting into the heart, you're connected and allow yourself to be guided by your source and soul intelligence. And when you do that, all the heavy lifting is left up to them, which is you. But a larger aspect of you that can see the whole playing field, that knows the shortest distance between here and where you want to go. Not always the most direct, though. And so that's the game. You got to be willing to just flow. Meander. I was saying to my sister today, I was like, she's like, well, what if I can't, get them to school on time when I want them to, given that our schedule is changing? I'm like, then you don't. Set your trajectory on what you know, on what you prefer, and then see what happens. Because things are going to pop up now. It's the nature of what we're dealing with that are going to cause you to have to make a choice. And your power lies in your ability to choose to flow with something versus force something. Does that make sense? You got that? The power lies in your ability to choose that. And in any choice point, it's always an option. Do I relax into this? Do I stay in fear and keep thinking? Or do I just relax into it and know that it's all going to work out beautifully if I can be conscious and stay aware of what is happening and more importantly, how I'm feeling as I perceive what's happening. If I can do that, I do not need to know anything more than the very next step I need to take, which may be brushing your teeth and going to bed, and then see what happens in the morning. Is that making sense? Give me some feedback here, guys. Let me know. Is that making sense? The benefit of choosing option 2, right, which is just flow with it, right? Don't think about it. Wait till the details present themselves. Wait till things show up for you, is basically being in the moment. And when you're in the moment, you have access to your full power. You realize that? When you're not in the moment, you are at the mercy of your ego. Every single time, there is no exception. But when you're in the present moment and your awareness is focused, that's when you have access to your true power. And our power lies in our ability to choose. And if you're choosing from scattered, from fear, which is all from ego, from overthinking, it doesn't end well. And when you choose from a place of centered knowing and awareness, present moment, presence, then you have many more options available to you that feel magical, feel light, feel spacious. Your mind is more quiet, right? You're flowing, not forcing. You're making a simple shift. You're not pushing. Less effort, more ease. Less worry, lots of freedom and joy, right? Better health, more efficient. You're not wasting time. You're not wasting time. And this is a beautiful, beautiful piece. You're spending less time and getting more for the time that you put in. It's quite magical. It's quite magical. Better health because your body's not burdened by stress hormones, constantly in fight or flight and sympathetic, when you could be, right, restoring, rejuvenating, resting. Do you think your body can rest with all those thoughts ruminating in your head? No, it can't. It's more playful, it's lighter, it's more fun, and the things we want can arrive so much faster, right? All right, we're going to wrap this up, but before we do, Joey, it's all resonating. Thank you, brother. I love it. Thank you. Layla, 1000% needed this reminder. Admittedly, I'm a worst case scenario ruminator. Oh, I hear you. I hear you, sister. Glad to have you with us. Really glad to have you with us. And thank you for sharing. Hey, we are all in this together. And everybody goes through their moments of ruminating, especially now, right? We are being really, I would say, tested, but we're in the middle of a boot camp. This is initiation. So everybody, even those who look like they got theirs together all the time, they are having their buttons pushed in interesting ways. Maybe not exploding on the surface, but it's all designed to get the inner game. It's just like one more punch, one more punch. Why? Because we're in training. We're in training, not to push back, but to be like, right? Take on more the martial arts style. The more, thank you, Layla, more of the, work with the chi. Just move with the chi. There was a phrase that, oh my God, I can't think of it. Bruce Lee used to say, flow like water. Is that his thing? Or is that somebody else? Either way, you get what I'm saying. Anyways, my loves, I hope this has been supportive for you. It's an exciting time. Tomorrow is the 1010 Stargate. So be present. Think about your own black and white. Think about where you are experiencing chaos and where can you bring yourself into present moment awareness and catch yourself. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? Okay, I feel uneasy. What am I actually thinking? Do I feel alone in this? Or is this actually something I could choose to feel excited about? Who cares if you're alone? See where the choices are that you're making. What choices, what are you choosing that you could be choosing otherwise? Okay. And lastly, If you enjoy this kind of conversation, and if you enjoy thinking about things and seeing your life and your experience as a bit of a challenge and wanting to uplevel yourself, if you'd like to join us on an experimental adventure into the world of activating the flow of our true abundant nature, we are going to be playing with this in the days ahead. Now, we talked a bit about this at the end of the summer, and truthfully, we were put on hold. But this has come back to life, and so the time is coming up. If you'd like to play with us, it is open to men and women, brothers and sisters. We're going to have some fun. Comment below with the words "I'm in," and I will put you on the list so that when this opens, we're going to get to play together. And again, it's experimental, so this is going to be the first group that gets to play with me in this realm. If you've played with me before, you know how fun and potent and life-changing this stuff is. If you haven't, come along for the ride, because we're going to have some fun. Yeah, and if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do. If you like this stuff, subscribe and you will not miss an update. And I'm going to be updating you as well on more of this, on this little game we're going to be playing very soon. All right, my loves, have a beautiful rest of your day. And thank you for playing with me here today. Have yourself an incredible 10/10 Stargate tomorrow. The gateway is opening. You're already in the energy. Accept the challenge. You've got this. You came for this, and you were so built for this. Without question. Just remember who you are. Sending you so much loves. Till next time.